Hey everyone, Tactics here with Season 2 prep in full swing. I figured I'd throw out a quick video here just walking you through my ability spreadsheet, which I make every single patch and is available to you guys absolutely free. I think maybe not a lot of people outside of my Discord know about it, so let's talk about it. First and foremost, what even is this sheet? Basically, what the sheet is going to do is going to list out every single ability in the dungeon, both in terms of boss abilities as well as trash abilities, and then it sorts them into various categories, which I have listed down here. These categories have kind of evolved over the years based on feedback I've gotten. So if you guys have any feedback, please leave those down in the comments below. But basically, I've adjusted kind of what categories we have displaying that information, and also how those categories actually display the information. Now, for new users, I have them listed down here so I can just kind of give you an explanation of the language. For example, a question I've gotten a lot over my time making videos is what is a stop? What does that mean? So here, any ability, and in this case, usually channeled effects, but not necessarily always channeled effects, where the effect can be stopped by a CC or stuns, fears, whatever. So full explanation here in terms of what we're tracking. We've got interrupts, of course, so any interruptible ability. Party damage. So we had to define this, I guess. I chose to define this by 3+ players in a group getting hit by an ability. Obviously, it's kind of open to interpretation. Maybe I should drop this down to any ability that targets more than one player. That's possible too. Let me know if you'd prefer it that way. But I think this is kind of a middle ground now where it doesn't necessarily have to hit all 5 players, but if you have debuffs going out on multiple players, it would kind of be considered party damage. Avoid, this is basically just something on the ground. I guess I can change it since it's not swirlies anymore. There's new circle animations, but basically anything that in a circle effect, either centered on a player or just on the ground somewhere, whether that's targeting a player or random target on the ground. Specifically, this is different than a frontal ability. I've made these different on purpose. So avoid is everything that's not a frontal that you can avoid, and then frontals are obviously any ability that is either a line or a cone. This isn't just cones. And the distinction here is that it's whether it will follow the targeted player or if it locks into place immediately and then the targeted player can avoid it. So that is a distinction in frontals specifically. We also have buffs and debuffs here. This is actually a new addition for this season where I've changed previously. I think it was like Purge and Soothes and then Dispels. I've kind of changed it now to give you a little bit more information. So now it's going to also say, for example, for buffs, physical buffs is going to be included. For debuffs, we've got bleeds now included in the debuff section. Also physical effects. The one thing to note for physical effects in both buff and debuff, I'm kind of realizing that it's a little maybe not totally accurate. I'm basically just using physical as like an other category, though. I mean, there are a lot of different types of debuffs that are not physical, but also don't fall into these categories. They're basically like magic based, like they're like holy debuffs or they're shadow debuffs, that kind of thing. Which I just kind of group those into physical, which is fine for the most part. The only thing to be aware of specifically with debuffs is that it says physical, but the interaction with blessing of protection and spell warding may not obey that. So that's potentially something I can do, but I don't want to add. I'd have to figure out how the categories work to do that. But something to be aware of for buffs and debuffs is that physical is kind of an all-encompassing other category for that. Tank busters. We've included tank busters here. I included the magic damage, physical, mixed damage, or other. I also have an other category for tank busters, which are just kind of weird things that I think like AoE and rages. I like tag it as a tank buster because it's something that tanks specifically should be aware of if the entire pack gets enraged, kind of thing. Just the weird things don't really fit into the categories of magic, physical, or mixed. I have an other tab for that. And then finally, just the important tab, which is something that we'll talk about in a second here, but those are the most important abilities in each dungeon. I've chosen like 7 to 9 abilities specifically out of every single dungeon and given them that designation to kind of show these are the abilities where in like a +10 key level are going to be the most important. So this doesn't apply to super high keys and doesn't apply to super low keys. Also, a couple new ones here for bosses specifically. I got rid of the stop and important designation on bosses and instead an add spawn designation and any effect that CCs the player if it hits them. So 2 extra designations for bosses specifically. So let's go through the tabs here. So basically, there's 1 tab for every single dungeon here at the bottom, which hopefully, oh, you guys can see it. Yeah, there you go. You can see it at the bottom. There you go. 1 tab for every single dungeon. And then there's also a tab here, which you can't see, it's under my camera, but it says important abilities only. So this is going to be the abilities which I flagged as important, and it's going to be color coded here with every single dungeon in this tab. So again, only 7 to 9 abilities per dungeon in this tab. And this is like the quick, hey, I want to know what is the most important things that I need to know for a given dungeon. This is kind of the quick sheet. You notice a lot of the abilities in here are either interrupts, some sort of party damage, or debuffs that can be dispelled or not dispelled sometimes. So those are generally what's going to be in here because they're generally what's most dangerous in that kind of mid key level range. So this is the useful kind of quick thing. Now, if you want to see everything, absolutely everything, you go into these individual dungeon tabs here at the bottom, and they have, again, all the different categories we're talking about, color coded by category based on the legend at the beginning. And we have the mobs as well as the abilities that those mobs use. And then the bosses are beneath that in their own section. Now, there's also a couple other things on this page. I'll be linking both my video guides and my written guides to dungeons, which, for those that don't know, I do actually write the method guides. Here, let me have these pulled up. Here we go. So this was the season 1 guides that I write for on the method website. You can check these out once they're released. I think they'll be released probably in the next week and a half, just like my videos are going to be starting to release actually later this week. And they basically just go through the entire dungeon, and they have, I think they display information pretty well. By the trash, they have the little icon of the ability along with the name and the link to the ability. So you just mouse over it, says exactly what it does. Same for boss fights, where I talk about the abilities and they link directly to the abilities with the icon. I really like how this displays the information. So if you want to see stuff in a written form, check those guides out. They'll be linked up here along with my video guides. And then also at the bottom, I'll post my MDT string for my pug-friendly route that I put out every season. And I also have the image of the route here. I'll update these strings to actually be links instead of these giant long strings shortly. But all the information basically that you need for a given dungeon for a pug-friendly route is going to be in each dungeon tab. So everything you need is going to be right here. So basically, you're a healer. Hey, what dispels do I need for this dungeon? All you need to do, hey, go to Rookery, look through this, boom, curses, magic. Only a curses spell in Rookery. Easy. Go to Theater Pain. What dispel do I need? Oh, it looks like there's a ton of bleeds in this dungeon. And there's a curse here. And there's a disease and a curse down here. So diseases, curses, theater, pain. All you need to do is look at this one column. You got it. Tank buster, same deal. What am I scared of in this dungeon? You can just scroll down this thing, immediately see, hey, this ability, Shield Bash, hits me physical damage, Savage Flurry, physical damage, a bunch of physical stuff, some mixed stuff down here, a magical thing. You know exactly what you're worried about as a tank player. So, this is kind of the goal of this sheet, to make the information a bit more accessible and kind of organize it in a way that people can understand it easily. But there we go, guys. That is the entire spreadsheet. I'll link it down in the description below. Absolutely free. Again, hopefully it helps you out. All I ask for in return that you hit that subscribe button. It's free to do, and it really, really does help me out. Got a ton of season 2 content coming your way very, very soon, so make sure you are on the lookout. Like I said, guide videos for the dungeons are going to be coming out later this week, and I have raid guides coming out, tank guides coming out, lots of stuff. So make sure you have that notification bell on. As always, I got to give a thank you to my amazing Patreons for their continued support. And of course, good luck everyone in Undermine. We'll see you in a week and a half.